In this activity, you will install the floor system for the finished floor 1 as well as the floor system in the foundation. In a wood frame floor system, the structural components that make up the floor system are called joists. The floor joists travel horizontally in the floor system. They are typically made of what is called 2x-dimensional lumber. These floor joists are separated by 16 inches on center. This means from the center of this joist to the center of this joist is 16 inches. At the end of the floor joists, there are pieces of dimensional lumber called header joist. The header joist is perpendicular to the floor joist. The joists that run along the perimeter of the building and run parallel to the floor joist are what are called rim joists. The header joist and the rim joist are attached to the seal plate. The material that rests on top of the joists is called the subflooring. The subflooring is made of 4 foot wide by 8 foot long pieces of plywood or oriented strand board or OSB board. The subflooring is aligned with the center of the floor joist. In order to install the floor system for the first floor, we first need to create the floor object. Since we are creating the floor object for the finished floor 1, we will need to make sure that that view is activated in the floor plan views. So in the project browser, we will double click on finished floor 1. This will take us to the finished floor 1 floor plan view. In the finished floor 1 floor plan view, in order to start to create the floor object, you will select the Architecture tab. In the Build panel of the Architecture tab, you will select Floor. In the Properties box, you will select a or any of the generic floor options. We will start with the generic 12-inch floor. We are going to edit this floor object. So you will select Edit Type. In the Type Properties dialog box for the generic 12-inch floor, you will select the Duplicate button. We are going to name this floor 2x8 floor joist with 3/4 inch subfloor, and click OK. In the floor system for the first floor of this project, This floor system consists of two major components. The structural member for this floor system is a 2x8 joist. This information is found in section AA, which is on page 11 of your Essex construction documents. The other major component of this floor system is what is called the subfloor. The subfloor is made of plywood. This information can be found on page 12 of your construction documents for this project. On page 12, you will be able to see this diagram, which is the typical wall section. In that view, it also provides you with information about the floor system. In this diagram, this represents the 2x8 floor joist. Sitting on top of the floor joist is the subfloor. This here is the header joist in the floor system. Also on page 12 of your construction documents, you will see a detail view for the subfloor. This diagram informs you that the subfloor is 3/4 of an inch thick. This is why we named the floor object a 2x8 joist with 3/4 of an inch subfloor. So in the Type Properties dialog box, in the construction section, looking at the structure of this floor, we will need to edit the structure. The structural member of this floor system is made of dimensional lumber. This particular material is made out of wood, so we can go in and select wood. In the options provided, we want to select the option that says wood dimensional lumber, because the 2x8 member is dimensional lumber. So we will select dimensional lumber and click on OK. Because the 2x8 joist is 2 inches thick and 8 inches wide, we will put in 7 1/4 of an inch, because a 2x8, the nominal size for a 2x8 piece of dimensional lumber is 7 1/4 inches wide. So we will type in 7 1/4 for the thickness for the structural member that is made of dimensional lumber. The other component we need to add is the component for the subfloor. So we will select layer 2 and highlight it, and we will select insert. We will change the function of what is now layer 2. We will change that to substrate. We will select the button for the material, and again select wood, since this is made out of plywood, and we will select the option that says wood sheathing plywood. We will click OK. For the thickness, we will type in the fraction 3/4 of an inch. We will click on OK, and we will click on OK again. After creating the new floor object, you should see it in the Properties dialog box. If not, you will need to select the floor options and select the one that says 2x8 floor joist with 3/4 inch subfloor. It will either be in your most recently used floors or in the list of floors here. So make sure you make that selection. What you should notice is that your finished floor 1 view is now gray. This will allow you to make selections to start to create or lay out the floor. So what you want to do is, in your draw area of your ribbon, you want to select the one that says pick walls, because the boundary of your floors will be determined by the exterior walls that you select. So we will select the pick walls option. You want to also make sure for the finished floor 1 floor object that you have the check beside extend into wall to the core. Bring your cursor into the model and select the exterior wall. So when you make your selection on the wall, make sure that this green dotted line lines up with the face of the stud that is closest to the exterior of the wall. So you will select this wall, and again, when you select the horizontal wall here, make sure that the green dotted line is lined up with the exterior face of the stud for the exterior wall. So you'll click there, and what you should see is a magenta line appear where you're clicking. Okay, so what you want to do is make sure you select the 4 exterior walls, and then in your mode panel of your ribbon, you want to click on the green check to finish. If you do not see this green check or red X, you may need to select your minimize button here. You may have to select it several times in order to see the green check and the red X for the mode. So once you see the mode option, click on the green check to finish the floor. What you will see is a message that will ask you, would you like the walls to go up to this floor level to attach to its bottom? We will select no for this option. And then you should see your floor system appear. We will need to create what is called a building section in order to make sure that our floor system was installed correctly. To create a building section, you will need to select your View tab. In the Create panel of the View ribbon, you will select Section. In the Properties dialog box, you want to make sure that the option for Building section is the one that is selected. So you will select Building section. You will take your cursor and move it above the model and click and pull it straight down to the bottom of the model and click again. This will create a building section for your model. Over in the project browser, you will scroll down, and now you should see an option that says Sections, Building Section. If you click on the plus to expand that, you should see one that says something like Section 1 or Section 2 or Section 3. Look at, in this case, I'm going to double click on Section 1 to activate that particular view. So what this does is pretty much cuts the building so you can see inside of the building. For the view scale, we will change this to say 1/2 of an inch equals 1 foot. So for the view scale, we will change that to say 1/2 an inch equals 1 foot. Click on that and click on Apply. Also, beside the scale here at the bottom left corner, we will move over one icon for the detail level. We will change the detail level from coarse to medium. We can do that here, or we could do it in the Properties section where it says detail level. We can change it from coarse to medium and click on Apply. You can scroll in to your model or into the section view, and what you are looking for is to make sure that your floor object, which is here, goes under the wall and to the face of the stud that is closest to the exterior side of the wall. You want to make sure that your floor system lines up with this line that represents the stud. So I'll zoom out, and on the other side do the same thing. I'm zooming in to make sure that the floor system, the edge of the floor system, lines up with the face of the stud for the exterior wall, which is here. To create another section view of the model, let's go back to the Finished Floor 1 floor plan view and create another view by going to the View tab. In the Create panel of the ribbon, select Section. In the Properties, select Building Section and create another building section from left to right of the building. So now when we go to the project browser, you will have another section that was added. So in this case, I'll double click on section 2. I will change the view scale of this view from 1/4 of an inch equals a foot to 1/2 of an inch equals 1 foot. I will also change the detail level from coarse to medium. And again, in this view, we are checking to make sure that the floor object goes to the exterior face of the stud for the exterior wall. I want to make sure that the floor system, the edge of the floor system, lines up with the exterior face of the stud for the exterior wall. That is for the vertical wall to the left, and I will scroll over in this view to assure that the same is true for the vertical wall to the right of the model. On page 11 in section AA of your construction documents, you will notice that the joists line up with the stud for the exterior wall. So this is why it is important to make sure that your floor object goes under the exterior wall and goes to the face of the stud that is on the exterior side of the wall, because the floor system supports the wall object that is on the exterior of the building. On page 12 of your construction documents in the wall detail, that also shows you that the floor system goes to the exterior face of the stud for the exterior wall. Here is your stud for the exterior wall. Here is your floor system. So the edge of the floor system lines up with the exterior side of the stud for the exterior wall. If you are currently in one of the section views of your model, you will need to go back to your project browser and make the finished floor 1 floor plan view active. So we will double click on the finished floor 1 floor plan view and make that active. There are some modifications that we need to make to the current floor system. Currently, the floor system covers the entire span of the building from left to right and from front to back. There are some areas in the floor that we need to open up. For example, in this area where the stairs are, this part of the floor will need to be cut out so the stairs can go from the finished floor 1 down to the foundation. The other area that needs to be cut out is this area here, in order for the chimney to come from the foundation floor up through the roof. So this area will need to be removed of the floor system in order to allow the chimney to pass through the floor and up through the roof. So in order to create openings in the floor system that we have created, we will need to edit the floor object. To edit the floor object, you will need to select all the objects that are in your model. When you select, or when you make that selection, it should select everything that is in your view. Up in the top, you should see a Modify tab, and you should see a selection option and one that says Filter. So you will select the filter, and the filter dialog box will appear. Select the Check None button. The only category we want to select is the one for the floor. So we will put a check in the box beside floors. Click on apply. When you select apply, the only object that should be selected now is the floor object. Once you see that, click on OK. So now what we're going to do is edit the floor. You should have an option under mode that says edit boundary. We're going to select the edit boundary option. In the draw section, we're going to select pick walls. You're going to zoom in on the area where the stairs will go, and you will select the inside of the wall for the stairs. You'll select the inside of this interior wall, and what you may have to do, if it selects the outside of it, you'll need to click on the double arrows to make it come on the inside. So we're going to select the insides of those walls, and you may come up with an illustration that looks similar to this. Then what you will do is in the modify panel of your ribbon, you will select the one that says trim extend to corner. So we'll click here and click on the parts of the lines that we want to keep. In this case, we will click on this line and this line here. We will click on the horizontal line and the vertical line here, the vertical line here, and the horizontal line here. So we want to make sure that we select, or that what's left are these lines here that are on the insides of the interior walls. So we'll scroll over to the area where the chimney is, and we will draw lines by picking walls, by clicking on the insides of these walls here. Again, if it jumps to the outside, we just need to click on the double arrows to change the orientation to the inside. Then I will go to the modify panel, click on trim extend to corner, and I'm clicking on the parts of the lines that I want to keep. So I click on this horizontal line and this vertical line, this vertical line, and this horizontal line to create this area here. Again, these are the areas that we will need to open up the floor. So in this case, the chimney can come up from the foundation up through the roof, and in this area, so the stairs can go between finished floor 1 and the foundation floor or the basement floor. Once we have these two areas outlined, in the mode we will finish the floor. Would you like the walls that go up to this floor's level to attach to its bottom? We will say no. And now what you should see in the floor object is the floor spans the entire building except in the areas where the stairs are and where the chimney comes through. The floor system in the foundation is made of a concrete slab floor. The concrete slab floor is 4 inches thick. This information is provided in the detail view that is on page 14 of your construction documents. To create the floor system in the foundation of the building information model, in the project browser, in the floor plan views, you will need to activate the top of footing floor plan view. So you will double click on the TOF floor plan view to activate it. Here you should be able to see the foundation walls in the top of footing floor plan view. We will use these walls in order to lay out the floor system in the foundation. In order to lay out this floor system, we will select the Structure tab. In the Structure section or in the Structure panel of the ribbon, we will select Floor. In the Properties, we will select a generic 12-inch floor. We will edit this floor. Beside Type, where it says generic 12-inch, we will select the Duplicate button. We will name this floor 4-inch concrete slab floor and click on OK. Beside the structure parameter, we will click on the Edit button to edit this floor. For the structure, we will change the material and we will select our concrete filter and we will select concrete cast in place concrete. We will click on OK. For the thickness, we will change this to say 4 inches and press enter. We will select the OK button in the bottom right corner of the dialog box. We will select the OK button in the bottom right corner of the Type Properties dialog box. In our draw options, we will select the one that says Pick Lines. The lines will outline the boundary for our floor system in the foundation. So we will select the Pick Lines option and we will click on the inside edges of the foundation walls. In the properties, we will need to change the height offset of the floor to be 4 inches above the top of footing level. We will click on Apply, and in our mode we will click on the check to finish editing the floor. And then you should see your floor object appear. To check our floor system in the foundation, we will need to go to the project browser and we can select one of our building sections, either section 1 or section 2. So double click on section 1 to activate it. And if you look at this floor system, the one that was recently installed in the foundation, you will see that the floor system goes from the foundation wall to the right across to the foundation wall to the left. What you will need to do is, in the section view, select the floor object that is in the foundation. This will bring up your properties, and let's modify the height offset from level. Let's change this to 0 to see what will happen. So if you change that to 0 and click on apply, you will notice what happens to the floor. The floor actually goes below the foundation wall. If you look at the foundation detail drawing, you will notice that the bottom of the concrete slab floor is at the same level as the bottom of the foundation wall. Both of these are at the top of footing level that you created in the building information model. So the bottom of the concrete slab floor is at the same level as the bottom of the foundation wall. So in order for the floor object in the foundation to be at the same level as the bottom of the foundation wall, you will need to make sure that when you select the floor object in the foundation, that the height offset from the level is 4 inches, which is the same as the thickness for that particular floor system. So once you have that height offset from level set at 4 inches, you will notice that the bottom of the foundation wall is lined up with the bottom of the floor system in the foundation.